What's up? This is Stu Schaefer. I'm about to explain why can't you lose weight even though you're doing everything right. You're in a calorie deficit, you're exercising, you're eating healthy. What's going on? We're about to explain everything. So you're going to want to stay tuned till the end because we're going to go through everything that's going on and what you should do about it. So let's just dive right in. So, here's the scenario. You're doing everything right. You're counting your calories. You're logging your food. You may even be doing the macros. And you're eating healthy and you've given up sugar and you cut out alcohol. No dairy, no gluten. And no matter what, for some reason, you can't lose weight. What the heck is going on here? Well, I see this all the time, especially because I work with women over 50. And I've worked with women over 50 for 24 years. Your bodies are different, and this happens to a lot of people. Well, what's going on? At the root of the problem, let me explain it in general terms, then we're going to get into the 5 pieces, the 5 things that are actually causing this. So what happens when you get older is your body just, it can't handle stress as much really well. You don't have some of the tolerances that you did before. So all the stuff you were doing before to lose weight, which was wrong, you thought maybe it was right, or at least you could get away with it. Well, when you reach a certain age, your body gets sensitive enough to things where you can't get away with it anymore. So I'm going to go in order of the most common problems that are occurring that even though you think you're doing everything right, you can't lose weight. So number 1 is the diet/food sensitivities. So there's a couple reasons that this will not work, okay? One is you're counting your calories and maybe even your macros, but the food sources aren't great. It's crappy food. It's not good. You're still causing the wrong chemical reactions in the body, or you're not combining the right foods at each meal. Your timing is off. Remember, you really need to eat the right food at the right time in the right combination to cause the correct chemical reactions in your body. And this is way more important than just calories in and calories out. You could do a calorie deficit, but if these chemical reactions are wrong, you can still cause your body to store fat and burn off muscle. Well, look, you lose muscle, you lose your metabolism, and this happens a lot. The other piece to this is if you're cutting calories and you're restricting, which I don't recommend, again, a lot of times you'll hurt your thyroid, you'll lose muscle, you can crank up the cortisol, which has these effects. It'll throw your hormones off. It can cause gut issues. You've got to be really careful. And this is why I don't recommend cutting calories, because too many people, when that's the way they try to lose weight, or they've always done that, they really hurt their body. It really does affect your cortisol. And high cortisol, if it's too high for too long, will cause gut issues. And it will throw your hormones off. And it will lower your thyroid or metabolism, and in many cases cause you to burn off muscle, lose muscle, which further slows your metabolism down. This is a trap I see. This is why you've got to be a little bit more intentional and precise with your food. Okay, now I've done other lessons all about the combinations of foods, the timing of foods, and you want to go and listen to those or watch those. And those are great. Those are absolutely great. We'll make sure that we link to some of those. Now, the second reason that you're seemingly doing everything right, but you can't lose weight, why can't I lose weight, is you're exercising wrong. Now, we talked about this not long ago. There's 3 components to the exercise: the type, the intensity, and the amount. They all have to be in balance, and your exercise and your nutrition also have to be in balance. So if you're doing an exercise plan and it doesn't balance with the food you're eating, you're not going to get results. If you're doing a diet and it doesn't match with the exercise you're doing, you're not going to get results. Well, maybe you're doing the wrong type of exercise. Maybe you're doing too much cardio, not enough resistance training, or vice versa. Maybe you're just doing too much. Oh, really too much? Yeah. Too much exercise will crank up the cortisol. That'll cause you to lose muscle, which will slow down your metabolism. Too much exercise, when it cranks up your cortisol, can have negative impacts on your thyroid, can throw your hormones out of balance. All of these things are very possible. Imagine your body as an ecosystem. Your job is to balance it. Well, if you're out of balance, then the body can't thrive. You're not optimizing it. If it's not thriving, something's off. You're now fighting your own body. It's not going to be losing weight. So I see women all the time. I have clients all the time where I have to tell them, don't exercise so much. You're doing too much. And now your body, it can't do what it needs to do, which is balance itself, heal itself, and lose body fat. I know it sounds counterintuitive because we're so ingrained to think, oh gosh, calories in, calories out. I'll give you a perfect example. I had a client named Caroline, and she was doing everything. She had an autoimmune, so she was already eating healthy, but she was doing too much exercise. She just bought a Peloton for her house. I told her that's a bad idea. You need to lower the amount of exercise and the intensity because you've got an autoimmune and your body is fighting itself right now. And she didn't believe me. I said, look, do you want to lose weight or do you want to do the Peloton? She said, I'd rather lose weight. Well, in 12 weeks, she totally transformed her body. And she said, I sold the Peloton because I thought you had to do a lot of exercise to get these types of results. I had a husband and wife that came to me, Kurt and his wife, and Kurt was like, I'm an old guy, I don't want to lose that much. Well, then he said, no, I want a six-pack. I said, Kurt, why'd you change your mind? He said, I thought you had to do all this exercise to get in shape. I didn't realize how easy it could be. Same with his wife. We really toned it down. So it's all about balance. Okay, too much exercise, too much intensity is just as bad as not enough. Just as bad. Okay, let's look at the third reason you're not losing weight, even though you're doing everything right, is stress and sleep. You're too stressed or you're not getting enough sleep or both. A lot of people don't realize this, but stress will crank up your cortisol. Well, most people know that part. But it'll also crank up your insulin. A lot of people don't know that. So guess what? They're cutting carbs because they go, oh, cut carbs. And then my insulin won't go up. Well, then they cut carbs and their cortisol goes up. And then they're stressed and their cortisol goes up, which causes their insulin to go up. And now their insulin is higher than if they would eat carbs and relax. And all these side effects happen again. Throws their hormones out of whack. Destroys their thyroid. Causes you to lose muscle, which slows down your metabolism. All points lead to cortisol, and cortisol, if it's too high for too long and you're cranking it out, it's going to cause the gut issues, the hormone issues, the thyroid issues, and the muscle loss and metabolism loss, okay? So stress, sleep, vital. Sleep, you've got to train your body. How do you do that? You wake up at the same time every day. That's the best way to do it. Now, you obviously want to go to bed at the same time every night if you can. But the thing is, you can control when you wake up. You can set an alarm to wake you up. You can't always control how quickly you fall asleep. But if you start waking up at the same time every day, what will happen is your body's going to start getting into a routine. Well, let's say you have a hard time falling asleep one night. And you go, I got to get up at the same time the next day. It's early. I won't have had that much sleep. I know, because then the next night you'll be tired. And your body over time, as you do this, will start figuring out. You'll train. You'll reprogram your circadian rhythms to get into a very consistent sleep cycle. And that's really important. Now with stress, we've all got stress, even if you don't feel stressed. I'm telling you, you're stressed. This day and age, there's no way around it, but there's different things you can do. When you eat right and you're exercising correctly and avoiding food sensitivities too, that's a big one, that it would cause inflammation. Now your body's going to get the nutrients it needs. You're nourishing it so it can handle the stress. Well, if your food's off and you're over-exercising, now your body can't tolerate that stress. Your threshold goes down and the stress is now more likely to cause these other issues that we're talking about with the muscle loss, the thyroid, the hormones, etc. So sleep is vital. You can control that. Stress you can't always control, but what you can control is preparing your body to be able to handle that stress. Well, ideally, you also use some mindset work so you can lower your stress, de-stress, get out of stressful situations, and help actually control the amount of stress your body's under. But that takes practice. That takes practice. Okay, number 4, which is really interesting. The reason that you're not losing weight, even though you're doing everything right, is you've had a trauma. And I've had a lot of clients that have dealt with this. They had a loved one or part of the family die at one point in their life, and they could see that after that happened, their weight started going up, even though they didn't change anything else, and they've had a real hard time reversing that. Now, no matter what they do, the weight doesn't come off. Well, what happens? Well, a lot of times with trauma, what that does is it shocks your body so much, it kind of creates this vulnerability where your body now is under a lot of inflammation. It opens you up for parasites, candida, SIBO, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, gut issues, things like that. And now because of that trauma, your body is so susceptible and something else now has happened that you're going to have to heal. You're going to have to heal. But at the root of it, trauma will cause massive inflammation, which will crank up those cortisol levels. And again, if it's a lot of trauma, it could throw your hormones out of whack. It could cause one of those gut issues where now you have an overgrowth and you need to fix that. And it could also really just hit your metabolism and your thyroid because the adrenaline is just going through the roof. And again, you don't realize it, but you lose muscle. I've had a lot of women over the years that talk to me and they said, yeah, I went through this traumatic divorce or this traumatic time in my life and I lost weight. I lost like 20 pounds. Bingo, they're losing muscle and now their metabolism is shot. So if you've had trauma, what you need to do is instead of just doing the normal, I'll cut calories and exercise, which I don't recommend to cutting calories, but if you're just doing that, nothing's working because you haven't healed the body yet. You've got to go through the healing process so your body is well enough to burn off body fat, to balance itself, to heal itself. Then you can start attacking it with some of these things with the nutrition and the exercise, and you'll actually get the results. This is a big deal. Okay, the fifth and final reason that you're not losing weight, even though you're doing everything right, is you've got something going on in your body like toxins or parasites. Toxins, these are things like, self-care beauty products have a lot of toxins in them. Could be your environment. Maybe there's mold in your house. Something is going on that's creating toxicity in your body, which will always cause inflammation. It'll really weaken your immune system. It'll keep your cortisol and adrenaline cranked up, which will lead to all these other problems. We're talking about gut issues, hormone imbalances, thyroid and metabolism dropping, and even to some degree some muscle wastage, which will lower your metabolism. Parasites are another big one though. We all have them. Everyone, if you're alive, if you have any sort of interaction with anything, if you eat food, you have parasites. The key is how many do you have, what type. If you've had trauma or you're under stress or your body's weakened, then it's more susceptible for these parasites to cause damage. But I recommend everyone do some type of a parasite cleanse once or twice a year, not often, but enough where you're going to be able to cleanse your body so that these little critters aren't wreaking havoc. And they can, and they do. So you want to be able to detox and get those parasites out as well. And a lot of times I've had a client who had SIBO, a gut issue, and everything she did to get rid of it, it would always come back. And I said, it sounds like you got parasites because a lot of times they'll cause SIBO or other gut issues to be reoccurring over and over. You'll never be able to get rid of them. And she said, no, my doctor tested me. My stool test showed there's no parasites. And I said, well, they don't always show up. So she did a parasite cleanse, had all the die-off symptoms, everything. And she, oh my gosh, I must have had a ton of parasites. She got rid of them. Her SIBO was gone. She started losing weight. She could eat normal foods again and not feel crappy. Her gut wouldn't go crazy on her. She goes, oh my gosh, I haven't been able to eat regular, normal foods for so long. I can't even remember the last time I could eat whatever I wanted and didn't have all these issues. My weight's coming off. I feel amazing. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. So this is how it works. And these are really the 5 causes. Why are you doing everything right, but you can't lose weight? Now we're going to splash up a couple other videos. You got to watch these. These are going to fill in some of the gaps that we talked about. And I'll see you over there. All right. Take care.